So you need a new set of tires, but you don't want to dish out a lot of money on a new set. Well, I got you, because I'm going to be showing you how to properly check a set of used tires to get a good deal.
So you're asking what I gotta do to check these tires. So first things first is check the tread depth. That's the whole life of the tire right there. So how are we gonna check that? I mean, you can visually inspect it and see, okay, this is a good tire or whatever. But what you want to do is you want to take a ruler with you and measure it properly. So you don't need any fancy tools to measure it. Just a regular old ruler is fine. But when you're measuring with a ruler, you're going to be measuring in millimeters. So tread depth is actually measured in over 32. What would it be? 32? Alright, so it's measured over 32s of an inch, and you could just do a quick Google search of millimeter to tread depth conversion chart, and you'll be able to convert it to the standard, which is over 32s of an inch. So measuring here, you probably can't see that, but it's about 7 millimeters. It's 7 millimeters, and that converts on the chart to 9. So a brand new tire from factory is going to be 10 or 11 on 32. So obviously we got a really good tire here. Now the minimum required by law is usually 2 on 32. So for contrast, I have another set of tire here, and this is a Pirelli Soto Zero. This is the Nokian Hakkapeliitta. This is also a very good tire. So let's just measure it here. Again, you probably can't see that, but that's about 5 millimeters. So 5 millimeters converts to about 6 on 32. So what I've devised is categories for the chart. So 8 to 11 on 32 would be one category, 5 to 8 would be another, and 2 to 5 would be another. Obviously from a new tire to a worn tire. So using this, we can devise some sort of pricing for each category. Another thing when you're talking about pricing, what you want to consider is brands. You might get away with paying for a cheap tire, but in the long run you're going to pay for it. It might not last that long versus a good premium brand, which the compound, it might last a lot longer. A little tip I give is to check local classified websites and do a little bit of market research to check what the going price of different tires and compounds and all that. So using our categories here, we've got this one which is 6 on 32 and this one which is 9 on 32. So this one pretty much a new tire, and this one it's got a little bit of life left in it. I'd say you could probably pull easy three, maybe stretch it 4 seasons, and this one probably about 2 seasons. Now for this one I paid $300 and this one I paid $180. So you can see this one has half the life of this one, and the price also reflects that. Also a little side note, when buying these tires, they're for my Subaru WRX, which has 17-inch aftermarket wheels, and a lot of people usually tend to say that, oh, buy 15-inch or 16-inch Steelies and you can fit a smaller tire on there and it'll be cheaper. Well, that's not always necessarily true. So this is a 225/45/17 tire, which is common for a lot of different cars. So this BMW, for example, will also take a 225/45/17-inch tire. Now with that being, a lot of people, they move on to newer cars. They don't always really want to haggle, they just want to get rid of them, and you might be able to get yourself a really good deal out of that. So now that you've checked your tread depth, what you want to check for is cracks in the tires. Now even though that this is a pretty new tire, it may not have been driven on very much, like only 5,000 kilometers, but they may have been sitting around for 4 or 5 years. Now in that time, the rubber could get old and it could start to crack. So what you want to do is look for any cracks in between these creases and the tread pattern, and yeah, this is pretty good. You want to visually inspect inside the liner. You want to make sure that there's no cracking inside of the liner. So as you can see here. This is a pretty good tire. There's no cracks of any sort. We got clean tread all around, and that's the sign of a good tire. Next, what you want to check for is any kind of nail heads in the tire. So nail heads, if they're not taken care of, they might lead to an air leak in the tire. Now with that, you might have to buy a new whole tire if you can't repair it, or you might have to buy a new set, even worse. So what you want to do is first make sure that the tire is clean. Ask the owner for a hose or something and just hose it down a little bit if the tire is dirty, because it's going to go a long way in checking the tire. So what you want to do is use good lighting, and you just want to go around and check for any kind of nail heads. Bounce it a few times every once in a while. Also check that the rubber is in good condition. You'll get a good bounce out of it if it's good rubber. And just visually inspect for any kind of nail heads. There's a lot of stones here. Don't mistake those for nail heads, obviously. So next, what you want to check for is even wear of the surface. So some tires, they might be worn more on the inside, some might be more worn on the outside, some might even be a little bit wavy in the middle. So you want to make sure that it's a nice even surface, because it'll definitely affect the longevity of your tire. So next, what you want to check for is any sort of repair or plugs in the tire. So how we're going to do that is check inside of the tire and just visually inspect. Now this tire over here has a repair here. That's what it looks like. It'll either look like this, or it'll look like a plug or a little extra piece of rubber that sticks out. Now with this, you can actually use it as a negotiating tactic and knock off about 20 to 50 bucks off the price of the tires. Now last but not least, what you want to do is check every single tire. So what I mean by that is, more often than not, tires will be stacked as such, and usually in wrappers like these. So what will happen is you'll go to check the tires, and you'll check this one, check that it's good. You'll check the second one and it's good. Now if you're in a rush, you might not even get to the last two tires. You'll just see that the first two tires, yeah, they're good, whatever, and just pay the guy the money. So what happens is, like, a lot of people with cars that are rear wheel driven, the rear tires by the end of the season will be completely shot. The front two tires might still be salvageable, but the two rear tires, you can't even use them for anything. So what they'll do is that they'll put the two crappy tires on the bottom, hoping that you won't check them. If you're in a hurry, you might fall into their trap. You might just check the first two tires, not even check the last two, because you didn't want to open the wrapper or whatever and take your time. So make sure you really take your time. Be a pain in the ass if you have to be. Wash them down, measure them all if you have to. Negotiate as much as you can, because you want to walk away with the best deal possible. I mean, the crappiest thing that could happen is that you check two tires, you thinking that you walked away with a great deal, and then you come to find out that either you got a nail head in the last one, or you got a leak, or the two last tires are completely shot. So I want you guys to walk away with the best deal possible. So make sure you take your time and don't rush through it. I know it's a grueling process, but it's really not all that bad if you follow the steps that I showed you. You should make an informed decision, and you won't have to spend as much money on new tires, and you can walk away with a great deal on a set of used tires that might last you a long time. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if this has helped you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.